Hello and welcome back to George's YouTube channel, the best Torino around. Last episode we got the brakes and everything repaired and he is running great. I'm very happy. This episode I want to teach you and show you, kind of like a tutorial type thing, how to clean your engine bay. Because as you can see, look at this metal, it's all completely corroded, it's got grease, it's dusty, and probably hasn't been cleaned in several decades. I'm not even being sarcastic. All these tubes, everything's rusted. I just want to clean everything up and super clean this engine bay amazing. So this is going to be more of a tutorial type video. I'm going to go step by step on what you need to do to clean your engine bay in case you want to do this yourself. So the first step is the preparation step. And during this step, we're going to be preparing the engine bay before we even get started cleaning. The very first thing we want to do is take out the battery. As you can see, I'm disconnecting the cables and here we go. The battery's now out. Pretty simple process for the dry cleaning stage. You're going to want some kind of thing to blow air with or suck air if you would rather use a vacuum. Some kind of brush. I'm going to be using this brush and also a toothbrush. Don't have it out here, but I will be. I've got another brush like this, a little bit harder. And then for metal objects, I'm going to be using some steel wool and a metal brush. Also, if you have a metal end for a Dremel, that would work nicely too. And then lastly, we have just a couple microfiber towels. So for the first step, I'm going to come into any metal parts like this on the alternator. First, I'm going to scratch them down and clean them off with the metal wire brush. And then I'm going to come with some steel wool and some of that polish. And these are going to look amazing after I'm done with them. Ooh, that looks so much better. It's time to go around and clean up the rest of the engine with dry brushes. No wet in this step, just dry. So go around and clean everything, agitate the surfaces, get as much dust out as you can everywhere. Be careful not to get anything into the carburetor top or the distributor caps. So go around and clean everything, dry brush, and then we'll move on to the next step. Okay, now that you're done with the dry cleaning step, I don't know if you could see in that time lapse, but dust went everywhere. This engine bay is filthy. I'd suggest wearing a face mask if you do that step to a really old car that hasn't been cleaned in a long time. Now, we're on to a very important step before the wash step, and we are about to get started. You want to cover up your main engine bay area. Make sure to cover your ignition cap. If your spark plugs are facing up, make sure to cover those very nicely as well. Since mine are underneath the car, I'm not going to worry about them too much because any water should just run off. Also, make sure to cover up the alternator and any loose electrical areas, which I've done right here. Now, for the washing step, we're going to be using a water hose first off, and then something to dry with. I'm going to be using my air compressor again. An assortment of brushes. I have the toothbrush now I'm going to use to get into very deep places to make sure we clean them all out. And then this is an optional step, but I do have some engine degreaser on hand, so I'm going to be using that since my engine bay is so covered in grease. And then after that, we're going to have some quick detail or soapy water, just some kind of extra degreaser just to clean everything up. And to dry and soak everything in, we have a sponge and some different microfiber towels. It's a pretty easy arsenal of cleaners, and I think it should get the job done very nicely. So the first step, we're going to take the water hose and we're going to clean around the edges very carefully, trying not to heavily get on the engine or anything that we've covered up. And then we're going to come back and degrease all of these areas, hoping to get rid of all of that and then soak it one more time and then clean it with the detailer. Once everything's detailed, we're going to come back around and give it one last wash, just around making sure, again, be careful not to get too much water on your engine. Okay, now that we are done with the wet step, I'm going to come in and try and dry everything off best I can with a microfiber towel, and then I'm going to come in and blow everything off best I can in these hard to reach places. Once everything's dry, we're going to come in and clean the actual engine itself. Okay, the engine's dry and it's time for one of the last steps. There might be one more afterwards, but this is pretty much the last one. That last one will be optional. For this step, since my engine is so greasy, I'm going to be using some degreaser first, Then coming in with some soapy water, which should get the rest of the grease off and clean off the surrounding surfaces. Then I'm going to come in with this detail black spray. Since my car interior is black, this will work beautifully. And then some wax. If you have spray on wax, that would be best, but I'm just going to use regular wax for now. And that aluminum polish for some extra little details. Application pads and a microfiber towel. So I'm going to come in here, and any black painted surfaces I'm going to clean up with the black. And down in here in the engine, I'm going to try and degrease it best I can, and then use that soapy water, dry everything off, and come back with any kind of detailer that I want to use for certain parts. Also, I'm going to use a plastic and trim restorer on all of the hoses and pipes, just because it's going to bring back a beautiful black polish. So let's get on that right now, and it's going to look amazing. We are looking so clean. This is not for the faint of heart, this process. This took a very, very long time. Probably around 5 to 6 hours. It's literally getting dark. I started at around 12. But look how nice and clean everything is. I feel like the thing that made the largest difference was the plastic restore on all the pipes and anything that was plastic. And then maybe secondly, that black paint restore, it really did shine up a lot of the black paint. I am a little disappointed. I tried cleaning up the side areas, and literally nothing I will do will bring back any kind of remote paint color. It's just this ugly brown mess, so I'm not really sure what else I'm going to do, but this is the cleanest I can get it. And if you apply all of these rules and techniques that I showed you to your car, I promise you will get really good results, way better than this if it's not been cleaned in several decades. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Later.